Welcome to day 7 of our fall road trip across the US East Coast. Today is our second full day in Boston and a full week since we started our trip. This is the second day with our 3-day Boston Go City Pass, and we planned another great day seeing the sights of Boston. Unfortunately, today did not quite go to plan and we did not get quite as much use out of the pass as we wanted. We had already made a profit yesterday, so it's not the end of the world, and we still have tomorrow. The day started as pretty much a rerun of yesterday as we hopped onto our tourist trolley. We chose the Harbourside Inn for its location, and it's hard to think of a better located hotel for the things we had planned. The trolley stop was literally right outside, so we just headed out and hopped straight on. Boston is pretty small as far as cities go, and lots of the city can be seen on foot, but having the trolley just helps you join the dots, and you get a fun and informative guide to take you around the city. The Go City Pass grants you a pass for 2 days on the trolley, which we had redeemed yesterday, so our total starts off the same as we head for our first attraction. The USS Constitution Museum. Yesterday we had passed the Constitution on our trolley tour, but the ship is closed on Mondays. The tour guide told us yesterday it will be open on Tuesday, so we made the plan to visit today. However, this was the first weekend of the winter schedule and it was to be closed on Tuesdays as well. A real bummer, as we would not get a chance to come back. The good news is this only applies to the vessel itself. The museum, which is part of the pass and has a $15 entry, was open. We did our best to get a look around the iconic vessel docked up in the harbour, but as the exhibition was closed, we were not able to board her. Which is free to do when open. Instead, we headed across to the museum to learn a little about the history of old Ironsides. And to be honest, it's a good job we did, as we really didn't know much about the vessel. But the museum does a really good job of informing you how the vessel went about doing what very few navies ever managed to do, and actually inflicting defeats on the Royal Navy, in the end achieving such status that it was constantly saved from the scrapyard and is still a commissioned vessel in the US Navy. Not that it would be much good nowadays, but it's purely symbolic. The upstairs of the museum is devoted to telling the story of the lives of the crewmen of a vessel of this era, and what drove them to sign up and commit to this life of hardship. It's a really fun and interactive look at the life at sea of the independence era. The museum was really fun and we enjoyed our time there, but we were still a bit upset about not getting aboard the Constitution. I guess we'll just have to come back. After the museum, we got back on our trolley and headed back across the river into Old Boston, this time staying on the trolley right the way to Boston Common, giving us a bit more time listening to the tour guide, which was very interesting. From here we headed out away from downtown and Beacon Hill area of Boston and into Back Bay to explore the luxury shopping district of Newbury Street. This was primarily for window shopping, as the luxury brands of Tiffany, Chanel, Cartier and Bulgara are a bit above our price point. We carried on down the street to a more reasonable end of the shopping district, but mainly with the aim of grabbing some lunch. It had been a whole day in Boston without having any lobster, so we hunted out a lobster roll to keep the cravings at bay. In the end, choosing the fairly chainy establishment of Luke's Lobster. The roll was packed with meat and really delicious, a great lunch. With lunch sorted and hunger kept at bay, we headed to what would end up being our last attraction on the pass for today, View Boston. The pass got us instant entry and we headed straight on up. View Boston is the only observation deck in Boston. Situated atop the second tallest building in the city, View Boston is a brand new attraction, only opening in 2023. It's a reworking of the original observation deck that has been a part of the Prudential Tower since its opening in the 1960s. The new deck is very impressive, with a multi-level approach. The main deck is enclosed, but there is also an outdoor section with alfresco dining and a bar, and a restaurant level with some great views as you dine. There are lots of interactive displays and models showing you exactly what you are looking at. The actual views from the deck are really awesome. While the specific views of Boston city centre are a little obscured due to the position of the John Hancock Tower, the tallest tower in Boston, you still get great views of the Common, MIT, Harvard, Fenway Park, the Charleston River and the general area itself. On certain days you are going to get some really impressive flybys from aircraft coming into Logan, but today the approach was wrong. We spent a good while exploring the deck and really taking in the views of this city. It's a great addition to the pass, and one of only a few ways to get a really good aerial view of the city of Boston. The next location we wanted to explore was Harvard, and there was a walking tour available on the pass, but we were not able to arrange a tour for the times we wanted, so we were unable to use the pass here. This was pretty disappointing, as we really wanted to check out the campus. It's really important not to be a slave to the pass. We could have at this point gone and done another attraction on the pass. There are several things we would have enjoyed: a Fenway Park tour, Museum of Science, Museum of Fine Arts, or any one of a number of attractions. This would have helped us give the feeling of really getting the best out of the pass. But it wouldn't have got us to Harvard, which is what we really wanted. So rather than sacrifice an activity we really wanted to do, we just hopped in an Uber and headed to the university for ourselves for a little DIY exploring. It meant we only clocked up 2 attractions today and only extended our savings a little bit, but we were well into the green and still had a fair bit planned for tomorrow. Exploring Harvard was amazing. As well as being a famous uni campus, it's also basically a film set. Kate is a die-hard Legally Blonde fan and was stoked to finally be at Harvard. And I too loved seeing the famous sights and location of the famous campus. Honestly, we really wish we had got onto a tour, as for large parts of our exploration we didn't really know what we were looking at or where anything was. We wasted a lot of time hunting things out, but eventually we got to find everywhere we wanted. It was a real blast on a lovely warm fall afternoon just exploring this iconic location. After a long time exploring and heading down to get some epic river views, we eventually headed back to the hotel to recover before a night out. The final thing to tick off on our Boston adventure was an Irish bar. The city has a huge Irish population and it would be rude not to grab a pint of Guinness and some classic pub grub. We scanned the internet for the best Irish pub in the city, but in the end, location trumped the reviews as we headed to the Black Rose, which was literally 100 feet from our hotel door. Not that the Black Rose got bad reviews. This was an old school classic Irish pub with old fashioned wooden panelling, Irish decor and a large bar with draft ales. These sorts of pubs are 10 a penny back in the UK and we felt right at home. We had a couple of pints of Guinness, again something that is very usual back home but feels a little alien in the States. The food, we had some fantastic wings to start, not very Irish but excellent all the same, and then bangers and mash for the main. This was okay, but really it was just a few sausages and some mash, which was fine but a little overpriced for what they were. There was some live music and the atmosphere was excellent. After a while and a couple of Guinnesses, we decided to move on and have a little explore. We didn't get far until we saw a sign for an all-night happy hour with 2-for-1 cocktails at a bar called Sissy K's that was right next door. So we headed in to snap up some cheap drinks. It always works out really well for us when we just look for a good sign outside the bar, and this was no exception, with great service and decent drinks all night. There was a karaoke going on, and while we didn't partake, we enjoyed watching the fairly dubious acts and having a little fun at their expense. It was clearly a very popular local place and was really busy for a Tuesday night. In the end, we had a huge day planned for tomorrow and an early start, so we only stayed for a while before heading back to get some sleep at the hotel ready for tomorrow. And what a day we have planned for tomorrow. Finally, we are picking up a rental car and actually hitting the road on our road trip. Destination Salem for some spooky Halloween fun. Like and subscribe to our channel to make sure you get a notification when that video drops. Bye for now.